Hi, this is Conrad Zimmerman of FistShark Marketing. If you like our show, we hope you'll consider supporting it with a small monthly contribution through Patreon. For less than the cost of a colonoscopy, we can provide you that same sense of personal violation through improv comedy. Just visit patreon.com/FistShark or click the big Patreon button at fistshark.com for more details. And thanks for listening.
Problem solution. That's how we work here. I think that's fair to say.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. We identify an issue, we resolve the issue. We bring it to a successful conclusion that's beneficial for everybody involved. This is perfect. This is the perfect arrangement. It's going to meet the needs of employees, customers, everything we need.
Problem. Vampires want to go into the daycare business, obviously.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, there's always going to be children. The pricing model is such that you can make a real killing in a small space. There's a ton of opportunity for childcare services.
Problem. Vampires can't go into the daycare business because it's care provided during the day, which, as a vampire, that is a problem that we're here to solve.
Exactly. Well, and in our globalized world, you know, people need to be able to work when it can fit into their lives.
It's a global economy.
Right. And things need to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week anyway. So it stands to reason that we should be able to arrange childcare services in a way that vampires who are so interested in pursuing this line of work, it seems tragic to deny them that opportunity, right? It almost seems discriminatory.
I mean, if I'm quite fair, it's monsterism at its worst, at its absolute worst. And I think FistShark Marketing has hit upon the perfect solution. Problem: vampires can't run daycares. Solution: vampires can run Nightcares.
Yes, exactly. That's what's so brilliant about it, is that it's filling a need. It's not just filling one need, it's filling two needs. Because, you know, when we think of daycare is, it's such a white middle class, upper middle class type of arrangement.
Yeah, it's a luxury for people who can work regular hours and have their neat little cookie-cutter, generic lives all solved for them. And that annoys me. People without problems annoy me because there's no money to be made in the lack of a problem.
Exactly. Solutions are where the money's at. You know, finding solutions, and solutions require problems. That's why we make so many of them.
Exactly. Some would call us exploitative. I would call some people sticky beaks, whose beaks are sticky because they're sticking their beaks in our business with their regulations and their rules, and their children can't be near vampires. Well, sod off. Nightcares have proven not just popular with the vampire populace of Boston, but this fills the need for those whose work lives do not fit into the typical 9-to-5 mold.
Sure.
Late night DJs.
Stock boys at supermarkets.
Uber drivers. The ones who do the drunks.
Gravediggers.
Oh, Boston has the second largest gravedigger population in America.
Gravediggers Local 247 is one of the strongest unions nationwide.
And before now, where were they sending their kids? The local hovel.
Yeah.
And that hovel was getting too full of children. It was safe. No one else went near the hovel because of the wolves. But there were too many children in the hovel. That's the problem. Too many children in a hovel, not enough vampires getting gainful employment.
No, and it was all well and good when the Guinness people came by to provide the award for most children fit into a single hovel. But, there's not going to be any further competition. You can't possibly fit any more children into a hovel than we have. We've broken our own record 4 times this way.
Yeah, and thanks to the gravediggers who, obviously do important work, especially as far as we're concerned. That hovel was not available this year for the Hovel Olympics. They had to be called off completely. The Hovel Olympics there were none in 2017. Too many children inside there.
Mm-hmm.
The winding catacombs deep within that hovel. The worm that talks.
Packed to the doors. I mean, you couldn't have even gotten a qualifier out through there. They're like sardines. It's really tragic. And that's why they think this is so important. Because
absolutely. It's a community service as well as a money-making opportunity.
These children are not getting the kind of care that they need and deserve inside the hovel.
And they absolutely get it at Nightcare. I was actually speaking to one of the vampires who runs the place, Val. Now, she was saying that she absolutely adores her children of the night.
They make sweet music. No, that you hear those children giggling, laughing, chittering around. The occasional light scream as one of them is just surprised joyfully.
It makes a difference from the constant screams that came out of the hovel.
Exactly. Like, there's a little variety. I think the kids are happier. The parents are happier, too. I mean, for the most part, I'm sure. You have the occasional individual who is like, oh, what are these 2 little dots on my child's neck? Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get someone who's a little uptight about that. But on the whole, the vampires know how to care for children.
Yes.
They're interested in their support. They're not letting them come to any harm.
Oh no, some of these children, like, I used to think kids got themselves injured all the time. You go to any regular daycare, the children are falling over, they're scuffing their knees, they're getting into fights, they get nosebleeds. I look at the kids at Nightcare and I think they're practically invincible half the time.
Yeah, they seem like it. I mean, even if it's not that they're invincible, they're not coming home with injuries, which is the important thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I didn't realize was just how much this has stimulated the economy in other areas. It turns out it's not just vampires that are interested in a Nightcare service.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. It's become a very diverse hiring process. The last time I visited one of the ones locally, actually 2 blocks down, they've started employing mummies, Frankensteins, Wolfmans, creatures of the Black Lagoons.
Oh, good. We could use a swimming program.
Ultimately, it turns out that having a menagerie of, to be honest, fairly stereotypical monsters looking after your children at night while you dig graves isn't that creepy or weird. It's turned out nice.
I mean, these monsters, they need work. I mean, the days when you could get by on just being a Frankenstein, they're past. Monsters of today are far more terrifying and for far different reasons. Like, we prefer either a subtle creeping horror or, I mean, let's be honest, it's really all about the tentacles these days.
Either that or some sort of viral poetry. If you've got some sort of poem associated with yourself, or you're a clown, I mean, they're going to be big now. You're really, really in a tough market. So I really applaud the fact that we have a place for Frankensteins to go. We have a place where skeletons can look after children at last. And the working hours are very, very flexible. You get several nights off a month, which is fantastic for the werewolves. And healthcare isn't needed because nobody who works there is healthy.
No, they're all already monsters. Like, what's gonna happen to them?
The savings make themselves. Not that anyone needs saving.
No.
And that is something that we have stressed in our press releases.
Yeah, it's really important because people, again, it's just monsterism, right? It's really just people not understanding that they're just, other people like you or me. Yeah, that might just happen to feed upon other humans.
We got that letter in the other day. Oh, I'm going to be pulling my child out of Nightcare. I didn't expect to see it run by literal vampires. We'll be taking little Shirley Van Helsing somewhere else. Prejudice. Bigots.
Their loss. That's the way I see it. It's their loss in the end.
Right, try and find someone else to look after your kid at night while you go out doing whatever it is they do at night. Back in the hovel with that one.
And I mean, and the world's changing anyway. I mean, they're just disadvantaging their children by keeping them separated from monsters. You know, they're just going to go through their whole life thinking that monsters don't exist. And, you know, I'm sorry, but they're here, they're feared, get used to it.
I have a dilemma to throw at your feet. See if you can help me navigate these particularly tumultuous waters.
All right, I'm all ears.
All right. That's actually quite fitting considering what I'm about to tell you. Gary Busey, award winner, thespian, entrepreneur, has another venture. Now, this is a venture that I think is money. I believe, handled carefully, this could be a top earner. But it's delicate.
All right, so there's some challenges with this. I'm ready for a challenge. Let's do it.
Okay. I present to you Gary Busey's World of Faces.
Oh my.
Yeah, if you have a look at the documentation here, you'll see full color photos.
Yeah.
You'll notice that it is wall to wall faces in there.
Those are all faces. Yes, there's a lot of faces. Gosh, there's got to be 36 just in this rack alone. And
Just the faces as well. No eyeballs, none of that kind of stuff. The eyeballs and the teeth are classily removed. The faces mounted on the walls, just for your enjoyment. People are paying top dollar to go in there and have a good look at the faces. Mostly human, some fish. I'm hesitant to go full in on this one, though. I could just put both of my balls in the bathtub here, but before we brand this officially as a FistShark project and start putting TV spots out there, radio commercials, we've got to get some verification on those faces.
Well, is there some sort of concern about likeness rights and things like that from the faces? Like, what's the source of the faces?
Well, luckily, most of the faces don't seem to have a source. We've run them through some facial recognition apps. We've done some DNA testing on those that can be swabbed, and most of it turns up people of no interest. We're talking people from low-income families. We're talking vagrancy, that sort of thing.
Oh, so like minor misdemeanor criminals and things like that.
Yeah. You lose a face, the news at 6 is not going to pick it up. But as we've learned in today's politically correct times, it only really takes one senator's daughter to sink a business. If he's picked the wrong face, we could be up shit creek.
Oh yeah, no, we've definitely learned that lesson in the past. That's not something to trifle with.
Yeah. Time was you could get away with it, kill a couple of nuns, clone an heiress or two. But these days, one senator's daughter and you're out of the game for good. And we've got to protect Gary Busey's interests. More importantly, we've got to look after ours and be quick to jettison him if this turns wrong. It's one of those situations. Like, it's a classic World of Faces scenario where if you succeed, you're a genius. But if you fail, you should never have started.
And so how many faces are we looking at that we're going to have to identify?
Of the human faces, we're looking at about 1,500, which I would call manageable. It's when he wants to expand that I think we're going to have to start really worrying. He's already talked about buying a second warehouse and sort of joining the two with a sky bridge to make an ultimate world of faces. And we've just got to make sure those faces are on the level. These have got to be faces that belong to no one important. He's all right with the fish ones. I mean, I told him, I said, look, take the faces of as many fish as you want. You seem to enjoy it. But with these human faces, like, don't screw up. Like, even with the people who aren't currently in a house, you could always accidentally skin Dean Cain.
Yeah, well, you never know who might be out and about. Celebrities are people, too.
I mean, just about, yeah.
Just about. I mean, is there any way to maybe convince Gary to just stick to fish faces? Like, when he's ready to expand, we'll just expand and make that the fish face annex.
My fear there is that normal fish aren't going to be enough for him, and eventually he's going to go after Priscilla, the prize-winning koi carp of Boston. Even with the fish, it's a bit of a problem.
Well, I mean, maybe there are just some other non-human faces that we can move him in a direction of. Because I do think that it is really just a question of time before somebody valuable gets caught up in his dragnet.
Well, it's happened before. I remember when Corey Feldman started selling discount faces at the train station. It went perfectly fine for a couple of weeks, but Cher's face ends up in his basket, and then we've got a lawsuit on our hands.
I mean, and that's just silly. I mean, it wasn't even Cher's current face. It was an old face.
No, she took offense that he was selling it at a discount. That was the problem there. It was arrogance. But at the same time, you go into the facial business, you could end up with a facial snowball on your hands. One thing leads to another, and the whole thing blows up, quite literally, in your face.
Yeah, no, very sticky situation. Very, very sticky. You can't have that sort of thing blow up in your face like that. No. Here's maybe what we can do. Maybe if we skew younger, if we can't move him entirely towards animals, maybe we can get him to focus on people who have less intrinsic value because they've been a part of the society for a shorter period of time.
Orphans.
Right. Yeah, orphans. There you go. The Hall of Orphan Faces. Inside of the World of Faces.
I'd go there.
There's nothing I like more than to see the upturned smile of an orphan's face.
They were Corey Feldman's best sellers as well, so I think, if anything, it would just increase the turnout.
And now, I noticed that most of the faces in these photos, they don't seem happy, actually. And I'm wondering if maybe we should be getting some more happy faces in there. Because it's, I don't want to say it's grim or anything, but I just don't know if necessary for everyone to be frowning like that.
Yeah, there are elements of ghastliness, I would say, to the current world of faces. I mean, I say, keep some of the grimacing ones.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, you want to have a range.
But, have some comedy with your tragedy.
Maybe you do one with a sort of strange, cockeyed, like one eye bigger than the other with a raised eyebrow type deal. That's kind of fun. And you get a big smile with these faces, and they have no teeth because the teeth are gone. Like, that's an interesting look. That's worth examining.
Yeah, but I would say that's when we would have to expand the business because I'm not having Gary Busey experiment with the faces himself.
Yeah?
He's done a few of those, and they make Salvador Dali look like fucking Teletubbies.
Just a whole lot of rearranging then.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do with a human face. Peter Gabriel. Now, he's a face maestro.
Nobody can reshape a face the way that Peter Gabriel can. Nobody.
A face is clay in that man's hands.
He's a singular artist. There's no face that he can't rearrange and have it look beautiful.
He did these lips.
Those are some amazing lips.
I'm on kissable fuck.
Yes, you are. They're full. They're supple.
They're Paris Hiltons.
Really? Oh, I mean, they do smell so good. is it? It's like a lavendery, but with a hint of what is that? It's a bit like a hospital smell almost.
I'd help you try and work out what it smells like, and I don't want this to sound rude, but I don't care. And it's not that I don't care about what you're saying. It's just that the smell of these is so relaxing, so calming. I literally don't give a fuck what you're saying right now. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean that in a way that compliments the candles.
No, trust me. I couldn't possibly take offense to that at this particular moment. I mean, the smell of these candles just would eliminate any aggressive impulse I could even have, because that's how effective these scented candles are.
To take offense, you'd have to care. And to care, you'd have to not be near these candles. I did fuck your wife last summer. It was during the cruise, and I'm sorry about that. But I don't really care.
If I'm totally honest, I really don't care too. I mean, it's not as though I'm interested in fucking my wife anymore, so...
Well, she's been dead a couple years now.
Yeah, so, right, exactly. I mean, there was a time when that would have upset me. But as I sit here and just sort of enjoy the smell of these candles, I honestly cannot be bothered.
I should change my underwear at some point. Like, at some point, or have Craig to do it. That would involve yelling at Craig and insulting and berating him. And right now, I'm just good chilling out with these scented candles.
It seems like a lot of work, doesn't it?
Oh, so much work.
I mean, I suppose as long as it doesn't reach a point where the smell coming from your underwear is overpowering the smell of the candles, we're fine, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the moment that happens, I'll get up and go to the toilet. But until then, I think I'm just going to enjoy these candles.
Can you believe the nerve of that one guy being upset that his house burned down over these candles? I don't get it.
I don't get it. Most of the people whose houses burned down have been pretty chill about it.
Yeah, I mean, sure, there have been a lot of houses burned down.
Well, yeah. But on the plus side, a lot of people burnt down with the houses. So, comparatively few lawsuits compared to some of the other products we've sold that have had the knock-on effect of ending up with some houses being burned down.
So often, a house burns down, someone lives to tell the tale. And I mean, that's the problem with this one, is that someone lived to tell the tale. But I gotta be honest, I mean, I can't even muster the energy to concern myself with this lawsuit he's bringing.
Whatever it is. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not that worried anyway, because the fire inspector's on our side. Sort of. Like, he keeps going to inspect the site of the place, for insurance purposes, find out exactly what caused the fire, what have you. But the cinders smell so good that he just chills the fuck out when he gets there. And he doesn't see the problem. All he knows is that all of those once treasured family memories are really cooling him on the buzz there. And you got the guy crying, well, my house, my pets were in there. And the fire inspector's all, dude, quit harshing my mellow.
Yeah, have you been in there? Have you smelled this? Maybe the guy has no sense of smell.
Certainly got no sense of taste, because we sent him a complimentary box of scented candles to make up for his loss, and he wouldn't take them.
Why would you even buy scented candles if that was the case? You know what I mean?
Man's asking for trouble.
Yeah, it's just... Oh, man, I get a little sleepy.
Yeah, actually, it's funny how normally you hear someone yawn, it makes you yawn, but I wasn't yawning because you yawned. I was yawning because I was thinking about candles.
Yeah, it's...
Do you think this is why the houses are burning down? I must admit, we've got a lot of candles in here, and some of them are on the edge of the table. I mean, that one I think is actually teetering. I don't think I've seen real life teetering on the edge of a table in real life outside of cartoons, but that is to and fro.
Oh,
That's amazing.
yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool.
I'd go over there and scooch it back on, off the edge, but
No. It's way all the way over there.
what if it smells so good because it's teetering, and that's just wafting it in? Like, I don't want to lose that ambiance.
No, it's this room is it's perfect just the way it is.
I like this one here. What is it? Poppy seed and ketamine. I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
You get a real rich oaky smell from that, which is funny because oak isn't listed anywhere. Just poppy seed and ketamine.
Mm.
But I like to think it's got an earthen vibe to it.
It's not overpowering, and that's what's so great about it, is that it's subtle in its ability to just relax you.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh man, freshly eaten lotus. I like that one a lot. I think I'm gonna have a little sleep.
yeah, I think it's just gonna go.
Shut up, Craig.
FistShark Marketing is Jim Sterling and Conrad Zimmerman. Theme music by Ben Rama. Additional music by Alazar Chand. Our editor is Austin Yorsky. Get more episodes and learn how to support the show at FistShark.com. Follow us on Twitter at FistShark for more of our exploits. Complaints can be forwarded via email to fistsharkmarketing@aol.com. And remember, there's no such thing as a true sense of security. Goodbye.